Hello and welcome to Fabits. I've just realized that we haven't filmed a single dessert episode in the past 5 months. This is a huge oversight and we're going to correct it right away. Today, I want to share with you one of my favorite ways of the world-famous dessert, as well as a few tips on how to make it flawlessly. Mini Pavlova cakes with blackberries, nectarines, and brandy-infused Chantilly cream is what you're going to watch. Stay tuned and let's crush it. This dessert bakes in a very low temperature environment in well preheated oven. So set it to 250 Fahrenheit or 120 Celsius. The eggs we will carefully separate into whites and yolks. They must be at room temperature to beat and hold the shape better, so leave them on the counter for an hour or so before starting. Make sure that all your utensils and bowls you will be working with are crispy clean and dry without any greasy film or tiny particles like flour or water drops. To be 100% sure, you can wipe them with a paper towel drizzled with vinegar like so. Using any kind of electric mixer, beat the egg whites on medium speed until they are frothy with this kind of soft peaks. At this point, start slowly adding the fine granulated sugar. I'm typically going with 1/4 cup at a time without rushing, just to be rewarded with a perfect consistency at the end. If you decide to cut the corners and add the sugar to the liquid egg whites or add all of it in one batch, egg whites will become too heavy to get enough air in, and you most likely will get a weak meringue. So don't rush, go on with beating until all the sugar is slowly gone, increase the speed and beat the egg whites until they have this beautiful glossy stiff peaks. Now let's add some acidity to the meringue. Vinegar or lemon juice, both are fine. Well, now you may ask what the heck the vinegar is doing in the meringue. A lot of cooks say that it helps stabilizing the meringue, but how exactly it works? The thing is that acidity helps strengthen the egg whites, letting them to hold the air in as long as possible without letting the meringue to collapse. And you will feel that strength when working out the meringue with a spoon or spatula. It will be fluffy and dense at the same time. And that's exactly why we need vinegar in the meringue. Okay, let's add a little vanilla extract to get a gentle touch of fragrance. And the last thing, cornstarch. If you've heard all this buzz about such a satisfying crispy shell and marshmallowy center in the texture of meringue, know that it is the cornstarch that is responsible for that, so don't leave it out. Carefully fold the cornstarch through with a spoon or spatula. Oh, it's such a stiff consistency. This is exactly what I meant explaining what vinegar does with the meringue. Now let's prep the baking tray. Line it with parchment paper, tap in some meringue between the tray and parchment so that paper doesn't move when forming our mini Pavlova cakes. Visually divide the meringue into 6 parts and spoon them on the parchment paper one by one. They look like tiny clouds or unidentified shaped meringues, but don't worry, we will fix the architecture in a moment. Next step is flattening the tops so that they could carry the cream and fruits, and even making a little well in the center is not a bad idea. Okay, once they are more or less flat, let's shape the sides so that each cake looks pretty. With your spatula or spoon, touching the side of each cake, make the sharp moves from bottom to top, leaving traces behind and having crown-like border on the top, like so. Send the tray to the preheated oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes and monitor it from time to time, as every oven is different, and if you see after a while meringue starts getting darker, reduce the temperature to 200 Fahrenheit or 90 Celsius to let them stay pale. Once baked, let the meringues gradually cool down in the oven, turned off and with the door slightly open. While they cool down, make the Chantilly cream, which is basically heavy cream whipped with icing sugar and vanilla. When the cream is whipped, Add 1 teaspoon of brandy. Oh, it smells so good. And mix the cream. Let's check on our meringues. Tray is cool now, and meringues, oh, don't they look pretty and funny? Okay, now it is the time to prep the fruits. Any soft flesh fruits and berries work beautifully for the Pavlova cake if they are not too sweet. Choose your favorites and go with them. I always try using seasonal fruits and berries just because they are so much more flavorful and tastier. Nectarines and blackberries combo is my favorite, and there are a couple of reasons for that. First, both nectarines and blackberries have a natural acidity that balances sugar-loaded meringues in a delightful way. And the second, they look awesome together. The contrast between dark berries and saturated ombre nectarines is so eye-pleasing that it simply cannot be missed. Now, let's top the meringues with Chantilly cream, nectarine wedges, and blackberries. Last touch, dust it with icing sugar, and voila! Mini Pavlova cakes with nectarines, blackberries, and brandy-infused Crème Chantilly are ready to be enjoyed. Serve this dessert immediately after it was topped with cream and fruits. With Chantilly cream and fruits, it doesn't store well, especially in the airtight container in the fridge, as meringue absorbs the moisture from cream and fruits and turns soft. This is just one thing to be aware of. You can store the meringue shell separately though, in a well-ventilated dry space, in a basket for instance, and top it with cream and fruits right before serving. The cream itself stays well refrigerated in the airtight container for up to 3 days. So you can make the meringues and the cream ahead of time and just in a matter of minutes finish them with cream and fruits right before treating your family and friends with this beautiful dessert. Hope you've enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, and if that's the case, subscribe to our channel and hit that bell button not to miss the new episodes. These two things are easy to do but mean the world to us. Thanks for being around this time, and visit us again next week for the new episode. Oh, I forgot to tell you that all the good stuff like ingredients and good tips are in the description below, so check them out. Have I covered all now?
Yes.
Sounds like I have. See you in the next one. Ciao!